Alright, welcome back everybody, and yeah, after a quick technical difficulty, I pressed the wrong button, we are back once again, and ready for attempt 2 at qualifying here in Silverstone. So, let's do the intro again. My name is Coolest, and I'm joined in the commentary box once again by Alpha Max Nova.
Hello everybody, and as you can see, just like time, we got a Williams driver out of qualifying once again, and people getting out of the pit lane to start their first qualifying lap here in Bahrain. Actually, it's not Bahrain, it's Silverstone, my bad.
Yeah.
So I got it a little wrong, but it's okay. So, let's say something about this track, because, Silverstone is quite a peculiar track, surely. Many overtaking spots, that's also one thing that is good about Silverstone. But at the same time, there's just one racing line which is good if you want to go fast. So it's going to be quite interesting to see people deciding when to attack and how to attack during the race. Or just go full fuck it wibble for the whole race and then cause a crash. But only time will tell how the race will go on.
We'll see. There's there are plenty of opportunities for overtaking around this track. It usually delivers a pretty good race, so we can hope for more of the same here, and yeah. As we pointed out last time, Paul Diver has once again retired from the session, so clearly that was fully intentional, and his teammate is once again, unfortunately, not going to be here. So, yeah, it's most likely, we would assume, looking at the championship standings, going to be Elias fighting with Afari and co for the win of this race, potentially the likes of Loris getting involved once again, and yeah, we'll see how that goes for everybody. And Loris actually has a new teammate for this race. If I can scroll down to him, there we go, Bablo, who's hey, going to give us a nice little spin there. That's not going to be, well, it's not ideal for him, unfortunately, on his return to LRC, but yeah, he's thankfully kept it out of the wall and may just be getting ready for the start of his first lap in qualifying as an Alfa Romeo driver. Unfortunately, though, not in the most ideal circumstances.
I mean, I'm not sure that those tires will be in the right temperature window after that spin, but we can surely try. Also, I think we got some of the yellow flags, but it's just for people letting other people pass. So let's just keep an eye on Bablo's lap, I think.
Yeah,
so let's see through the first sector. Very, very tricky first sector because you can't literally go all in or all out. You have to find a in between for the racing line for the first two corners, and it's not really easy to do. Then of course the red zone, and we got into the fast flowing section of sector 2. So introduce us to this sector.
And, well, introducing us to the sector with a big old snap of oversteer there. I think you might have been right about the tyres not being in the optimal window for Beblo here, so yeah, he's just going to do the best he can to set a decent banker lap as he heads around to the fastest corner on the track now, turn 9 at Cups, and a little bit wide of the apex, but still, it seems like he's able to keep it through nice and flat, nice and tidy, and now into Maggots and Beckett's very fast S section, decelerating on the way through. Not quite able to nail the apexes there, so I think there's room for improvement on Bablo's lap here, but still makes it through clean and tidy, and with a valid time as well. Will he be able to keep that through Stowe here? It's very easy to make mistakes, either spin or run wide, and spinning actually I think was the Mercedes of Davey, who was running ahead of him on the track, so he's made the same mistake that Bablo has. Thankfully for Beblo, though, he's going to keep it clean through the final sector. Little bit of wheel spin on the run to the line, and he's going to set the banker time of a 1:27.3.
So a good lap, of course. A little bit, let's say, squirmily towards sector 2, but that's what the first run is here for. Then we got Loris going 2 seconds faster with a 1:25.3 than 26 for both Bossman, Ryan, and Blazer, who placed themselves in P2 and P3 respectively.
And yeah, so good luck by Loris there on his first competitive time of the session. We have Leland making his way around here. He's, I mean, his rear light is flashing, so he may have actually run out of battery. It's back on now, so over the line he will go, but yeah, only a 1:38, so obviously that was not a proper lap for him. And I think more time's coming in now. Indeed, we have Shadow Binmeister up into P2. Driver currently 8th in the championship standings, and I have to mention, it is a very good battle for P8 in the championship standings. We have, I believe it's 7 drivers split by only 4 points, from 24 points down to 20. Only 2 of them aren't actually competing in the league anymore, but still, it's a good old battle to keep your eye on. Obviously, unfortunately, we do still have Elias running away with things at the top of the times. Well, it's not unfortunate for him, of course. He's done a fantastic job, and no one can discredit that. But obviously, for racing fans, we would like to see a bit more of a close battle, but at least we have still seen plenty of good battles with him on the track, and I would suspect we're going to be seeing more of that today.
Well, the real question here today is who is going to bring the fight up to Elias, because right now we are of course waiting for a lap from him, so we still have to see if he can actually place the car in pole position, which I think is probably going to happen once he gets out of the pit. But at the same time, we got to also wonder who else is going to be fastest out in this specific track, because one of the things we love about this league is the fact that every track has its own specialized driver, so you got one driver who is really fast on one track, and then one driver who is really fast on another, so you can never really tell who's going to be competitive in a track or another. Speaking of which, right now Loris is still leading the way, of course, in qualifying, and we're still waiting for other people to set out a competitive lap time, such as Jokata, which is coming out right now in the last sector. Let's see how we can manage the last few
Seems like it's been a very clean lap from the Haas driver, so across the line, what will it be? It is P3, so indeed a nice and tidy lap by him, and a pretty quick one as well, with a 125.873. That's a solid time by him for his first lap of the session, and yeah, few notable contenders. Obviously last week's race winner here at his home race this week, Bimpo, not set a lap just yet, but he's on his out lap now, along with the title leader of Elias, who is carrying for both titles, I suppose, because Ferrari are also 70 points clear in the Constructors as well, which is mostly of his doing. So yeah, he's put in a fantastic shift again this season, and is, I suppose some might say, back where he belongs, up at the top of the order. And yeah, we have to say all credit to him, but the title is technically not over yet, and that will mean that the racing on the track will be just as fierce as ever, and I imagine even once it is, people will still be fighting just for pride, if nothing else. But yeah, we have a little bit of a quiet moment in qualifying here. We have actually a couple of drivers still on laps. I believe Maxcon may be one of them, making his way into the S's now of Maggots and Beckett's, see if he's able to keep it within the track limits. Looks like he's going to be able to do so. This is the one where it's a bit tricky, but yeah, very nice and safe there. And yeah, it's currently a tenth up on his time is the AlphaTauri driver as he makes his way towards Stowe. And we'll be looking, I would imagine, to get somewhere around where his teammate is, currently in P4.
Let's check out the last few corners then. Let's see, braking behind the 50 marker board.
Caught the curb.
Then a little bit of oversteer throughout this corner, which is very hard to get right, especially with traction. Then last corner, a little bit conservative, and it's just a 27.606, sorry.
Yeah, not ideal for him. He'll definitely be improving on that later in the session, you would imagine, as now we have last week's race winner, Bimpo, purple in the first sector, according to the game. Obviously, we have to put the asterisk on. We don't know if that's entirely accurate or not, but clearly on a pretty quick lap either way. And yeah, it's a driver who's struggled a little bit in qualifying this season. That's been his downfall at times, but let's see what he's able to do. He's been pretty consistent in recent weeks, and obviously put in a masterful drive last time out to take the victory. So he's going to be looking to continue the strong form here into his home race, and looks like he's on a very strong lap in qualifying at the moment, as I think somebody just jumped up the order. That was a Ferrari, going third quickest with a 125.7, but still nobody able to trouble Loris's lap time just yet, so let's wait and see if the Aston Martin driver of Bimpo can do that, or if he can't, then I'm sure Elias behind him might just be able to do so. So, into the final three corners now. Through the Vale chicane, Bimpo a little bit wide of the apexes there. It's not the ideal line, but coming to the line, it has been a good lap. What will it be? It is provisional pole, a 125 flat, but what about Elias? Across the line he goes, and it's a 124.9. Very close between them, but the Ferrari just about getting the provisional advantage. And
with this, we know, with Ferrari in pole position, Ferrari in the top of the driver and constructor championship, we know that this league, of course, is a work of fantasy. That being said, of course, we can also wait for the other drivers to complete their lap, which of course are Balta and Hashima, so we should actually wait and see them. I think I'm seeing them right on the last few corners on the map. And first, Balta is going to complete her lap, and it's going to be a P7 lap time with a 125.9, and then we got Hashima coming to the line right now with a P12 lap, yeah, 126.4.
Unfortunately, my camera work was not the best there. I apologise.
It's okay, don't
missed
worry.
all of them. But yeah, and we also have, I think that was the Haas of Busman Ryan getting himself up into P6 there, so right alongside his teammates. Strong showing for Haas, currently the team that are 6th in the championship standings, so let's see what they're able to do. And meanwhile, further up the order, we have another home driver, Shadow, on his lap, making his way through Maggots and Beckett's now, and out of Chapel he goes with a little bit of grass on the tyre, but that will not slow him down at all. He's a 10th down though through the middle sector, so might be a little bit slow there, and might struggle to improve. It was a pretty solid first banker lap by the Red Bull driver, so let's see what he's able to do. If he can maybe keep things nice and tidy through this final sector, there's plenty of time to be found, as I'm sure Bimpo will be keeping in mind onto his second lap. But across the line goes Shadow, and he does indeed improve, but not enough to gain any places. But still, strong lap by him, and still, with 7 minutes left to go in qualifying, potential for more times to flock in. And yeah, I will reiterate once again, Bimpo, of course, made a mistake on his first qualifying lap, so I suspect this battle for pole position is going to be quite heated.
And we should actually take a little bit of a moment in these 6.5 minutes coming to the end of the qualifying to discuss something quite interesting in my opinion, which is, usually in qualifying we keep a little bit in mind how many tires are people using, because soft tires may actually become useful in the race. But at the same time, we should actually keep in mind that here in Silverstone, using the soft tires in the race stream could be actually quite hard, because if you don't know, the Silverstone pit lane is quite long, like you lose, I don't know, 14 seconds maybe, which is, to Formula 1 standards, quite a lot, and due to that, it's usually quite suboptimal to try and do a 2-stopper, while also we see I like trains coming up into P5 with an AlphaTauri and a 125.6. But yeah, what I was trying to say is probably people are not going to try and save soft tires, because they are not going to be used a lot during the race. And if they are, we're going to probably see them in a soft to hard one strategy, stop strategy, which of course is going to be very, very, very hard to pull off and very, very hard on tire wear. So it's going to be quite interesting, but I don't expect people to, wait for the end of the session and save soft tires for no reason at all. So we'll find out.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate analysis there, like you say. It's quite high tyre wear around here. Soft to hards is possible, but I'm not entirely certain that it's the fastest strategy. So, like you say, soft tyres are pretty free to use around here. The only time you would be using them is most likely in the event of a safety car, as Bablo invalidates his lap there on the exit of Cops. It's not ideal for him. It's struggling a little bit to get up to grips here. Obviously, he's only had a week to prepare for this race, just coming back in for his the first time in quite a while, I believe, actually, for him. So, yeah, I suppose understandable to struggle a bit in qualifying, and obviously can still have a much better time in the race just by virtue of keeping things clean. So we'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way back into the pits now. And yeah, everybody getting themselves ready for the final laps of qualifying. And it seems like Bimpo has gone out a little bit earlier here, so might just be trying to get a little bit of a clean space advantage on the track.
One may say that maybe he's coming out earlier because they see rain coming, but let me just spoil for you all that today there is no rain on the forecast, so we're probably 100% gonna see a dry race here in Silverstone, which, well, I know it's kind of strange considering we're in Britain, and it's one of those places where usually it rains like every single day except maybe Sunday, but this is one of those cases where it's not gonna rain, so it's gonna be quite interesting. We're not gonna see rain tires, and we're not gonna see people wait for the rain during qualifying to do a stunning lap. So right now we can actually see Dave starting this flying lap here in the Mercedes. Let's see how it's gonna go in the first sector here. Braking zone, very difficult to get this one right, and very difficult to get the line right here. I think it went a little bit conservative through these first few corners. I might be wrong. Then the corner, and then the DRS. Ferrari, of course, waiting on the left side of the road. Now let's see throughout this corner how it's gonna go. Very wide in the entry. Touches the curb, which is still a little bit wide, but still nice. Here he doesn't want to go a little too tight on the corner. Then down the straight towards Cops, which of course is the highest speed corner in the track, and also famous for other reasons we will not name here. Throughout the corner, very nice, a little bit conservative here too, and now let's see Maggots and Beckett's how it's gonna go. Very nice in the entry. Yeah, you go, sorry.
That's alright, well, and losing the back end a bit
not.
was Davey there. It's not ideal for him. That's through Beckett's 10:14 there. And yeah, he's still going to continue with the lap and making his way down towards Stowe here. We'll go back on board. I think he just tapped the gravel a little bit on entry, but still has scope to improve. It wasn't the best first lap from him, so see what he can do. A bit wide though going into Vale Chicane there. So it's a bit of a scruffy lap, unfortunately, for presumably the final lap. What can he do? He goes P12, so able to improve at least, but yeah, I suspect a lot of drivers now are going to be looking to beat that lap, and I think the first driver who's going to be, well, definitely beating that lap, but perhaps going one better and trying to get pole is Bimpo, but no, he's invalidated. He's invalidated his lap. That is not good for Bimpo. Well, if he's able to save some battery, then he might just be able to go again here. He's got the time to, but he's going pretty quick right now. So this is not ideal for the Aston Martin driver, and he's back into the pits.
2 minutes. I don't know if it's enough for another flying lap, but you know, it never hurts to try. So maybe he's gonna go and try to do that, but I feel like it's a little bit too late for that.
Yeah,
now Loris on an out lap, of course, as you can see.
Bimpo's really going to struggle there. I don't think it's possible, really, with the length of the pit lane here. I mean, 1 minute and 50 seconds left, and he's only just made it to the garage. So yeah, Bimpo going to be starting from second place at best here, and yeah, perhaps the main contender for getting pole position here today, or snatching it away from the Ferrari of Elias, has fallen foul here of the track limits. That is obviously a big threat, and about to fall foul is the Haas of Bossman Ryan here. So another one bites the dust, I suppose, there on the exit. Just tapped the grass on the entrance to Cups there, and unfortunately that is his lap and his qualifying session presumably done and dusted. So yeah, a lot of people getting caught out here, but still plenty of people left to go, and yeah, there is still potential for a lot of change here because a lot of laps are going to be coming in right at the end.
Yep, also we're seeing Binemaster now going through Sector 1. Let's see the Delta, if he's improving or not. We're gonna find out right now, and he's up. He's up 1/10, so let's see if he can keep this up and probably get maybe P3 or maybe P2 if he can actually push a lot harder. And I think that's a no. I think that's that answers our question.
The commentator's curse jinxed it straight away, and unfortunately Binmeister has done the Binmeister, and he is not going to be improving. So a lot of people making mistakes. Clearly the pressure just getting to people here. It is quite a tricky track to hook up a whole good lap around here. There's a whole 18 corners to nail, and yeah, unfortunately it's been a bit too much of a tall order for certain drivers. But still, like we say, plenty left to go. You can see Loris making his way towards the end of Sector 1. Is he up on his time? Yes, he is. So he's going strong at the moment. We'll switch to the driver currently in P1, Elias, who is a bit further around the lap. As he heads up to Cups now, is he able to keep it within the track limits? Yes, he is, nice and comfortable. He was a bit wide of the apex curve at Cups, but still was able to carry the maximum speed and into the S's. Here we go. Can he keep it tidy? You bet he can. And let's see, is he going to be improving as a spinner there for the Mercedes? I think that was Blazer up ahead of him, so I suppose the traffic has gotten out of the way. I didn't even get to see if he was up or not, so is a bit too distracted. So heading through the final few corners, Elias might still be able to push the gap a little bit further. He's got 3.5 tenths in hand to Loris already, but with Loris potentially improving, he might just want to get a bit more. Squirming on the exit of the Vale Chicane, and he backs off, so he's not going to improve. And let's see what Loris can do. He's backed off as well, so nobody seems to be improving here.
And so, with the first round gone and done, I think we got our pole sitter. Let's see if we got any surprise, like maybe
Let's see what Afari can do. Oh, he hits the curb on the inside. That's not the ideal line through turn 16 there, so what can Afari do? Can he improve on P7? No, he cannot. I didn't think so. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much done. Yokata might be the last one who can improve here. Across the line goes the Haas driver. What can he do? P7. Solid drive by him. And yeah, that is going to be it for qualifying then. So a bit of an anticlimax there, really. So many drivers messing up their final laps. And that means, once again, Elias is going to be back on the top step of qualifying and sitting on the front row alongside the Aston Martin driver of Bimpo, last week's race winner in P2.
So I think it's going to be once again Alamao Yes versus Bimpo scenario here in, of course, Britain. Well, I'm still saying Bahrain. I think the fact that both tracks start with a B is confusing me. So yeah, a little bit of silliness, I think.
Yeah, and we will wait for the game to decide that we can be done with the session. I think it's just waiting for the Alpine of either Llewellyn or Tim Blythe to come to the pits. I think they actually double stacked, and that's why we're waiting for so long. Unfortunately, those guys did not have the best time, and yeah, going to be starting right down towards the back of the order. But at least that means for their sake that they can only go up for here, or from here. And interestingly, we have Nardo is driving in a Red Bull, which is interesting because he's supposed to be a full-time Mercedes driver, and he's currently in the Red Bull. So, yeah, I think he joined during the session, but his Mercedes seat has already been occupied, so I would have to assume that's going to be changed after the race. Can't be too certain though, but I would assume so. So yeah, a bit of an awkward scenario there, but either way, he's yeah, a new challenger has approached us. The almost race winner from Imola is going to be joining the field at the back of the grid in the wrong car. So a bit of interest in LRC shenanigans there, but yeah, let's run us through the grid order then for this race. It's going to be Elias on pole position from Bimpo P2, then Loris with a solid time in P3, a great lap by Eilert Trains to get P4, and Hashim likewise in P5. Then Binmeister is going to settle for P6. Sol Balter in P7. He's reserving for Aston Martin today and doing a good job as well. Yokata then at P8, with Afari down in P9. Not the best qualifying session for him. And yeah, it's going to be the Haas of Bossman Roy in 10th, Bacon Boys 11th, Blazer 12th, Maxcon 13th, Davey 14th, Bablo 15th, Timblash 16th, then Leland, Nardo and Pool Diver will round off the grid. So, we'll be back in a few minutes' time for what should be a very entertaining race. Don't go anywhere. Alright, welcome back once again everybody. After what was a very short break as always, we are now getting ourselves prepared for the race here in Silverstone, and that will obviously start with a formation lap, and that is our prime opportunity to figure out what kind of strategies everybody is going to be running on. So let's pull up the telemetry and see what the gap is or the difference is going to be like in tyres, and there we go. So we were wrong about the soft tyres because we have 6 soft tyre runners, and yeah, basically a 33 split of tyre compounds. So yeah, Max, you want to take us through it?
Well, I'm a little bit confused because, as I said before, I don't expect people to go for the soft tyres, but here we are. We got Lamolias, Bimpo, Loris, Balta also, and of course Team Black and Leland, so both Alpine going very aggressive at the race start. And if I have to guess, they're going to probably go for the soft to hard tyre strategy, which it's going to be really, really tough if I have to say, but I don't know if they run the simulation and everything and they thought this was worth it. Then I guess we got to just believe them. Then of course we got the more let's say safe options. So the hard tires runner, which of course are Bin Master. Then we got Bossman, Ryan, Bacon Boys, Blazer, Dave, and then no one else of course, who are going to go very, very long in the first stint and then maybe go either for the soft tires if they feel like it's near enough to the end of the race, or if they feel a little bit safer or they need it, they can go just to the medium tires. And speaking of medium tires, we got Electrain, Sashima, Jakarta, Afari, Maxcon, Bablo, and of course Nado and Paul Diver going for the most safe option, which of course is the mediums, which is the the in-between ground, which allows them to decide whether or not they want to go for the hard tires or not at the end, or if they want to go for the softer tire at the end. The game suggests the two-stop strategies, but as I said here, the pit lane is very, very long, and I don't think it's it's worth to go for a two-stop strategy. That being said, of course, we should also note that here we know this league long enough to know that there should be or could be a safety car. So, those soft tires runner are taking a little bit of a gamble and maybe hoping for a safety car, but we don't know if it's gonna happen or not. So we just have to wait and see for that.
Yeah, and as they make their way back to the grid, it is important that we tell you, we have confirmation Nardo will be corrected to Mercedes after this race, so Blazer, who is just reserving for Mercedes today, will be, presumably, once he's disqualified, I suppose he won't even need to be moved to another team, so yeah, Nardo's points will be going to Mercedes and himself. So, with that in mind, we can get ourselves ready for the race here. Our leaders are already forming up on the grid. Obviously soft tyres for all of the front row, and with everybody now into the grid order, we're going to have to ride on board once again and get ourselves ready for the race here in Silverstone. We've got 5 red lights. And it's go for the British Grand Prix here in Tier 1. Who's going to be quick off the line? It's a good start there for Elias, who's going to lead them on the way down towards the first corner. And Bimpo is going to try and look for a move in behind him, heading towards turn 3 here. We're going to get a terrible camera angle. There's a bit of contact and drifting his way through as Bimpo. So I think Elias is going to hold the lead. Meanwhile, further back, we've got a spin for one of the Haas cars. Can't see quite who that is. That's Yokata from 8th on the grid, has gone round there. Meanwhile, further up the order, we've got change in places. Hashim's going to go for the move and get past I Like Trains up into P4. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Bimpo having a look for the lead on the inside of turn 7, but can't quite find a way through right now, so it's going to be Elias who holds the lead from Bimpo in 2nd place, and Loris just about in 3rd. But here we go with Bimpo. Can he look for the move into Cops? Surely he's not going to do that, and in fact, yes, he moves out of the tow, so not going to be taking any big risks at the start of the race, and aside from the one spinner, we've made it through fairly cleanly.
Yes, and now we're going through Maggots and Beckets, and we can see the Aston Martin going a little bit side by side, but then decide to back off from the attack from Beam Masters. So, of course, first few laps, we're going to see the hard and medium tires struggle a little bit, and the soft tires running as fast as possible, as you can see from Balta, which of course is pressuring the Red Bull into an overtake, and also we got a battle between the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri right ahead between Hashima and the Like Friends also. How the hell did Hashima get into P4, right?
He started P5.
Oh, alright, so I missed that one. So,
fair enough.
So, yeah, a little bit of mistake from me. We still have the battle going on and a little bit of contact. I think I saw a Williams. No, I think it's, it's Paul Diver going a little bit slow into the pit lane for some reason. And yellow flags aside, we still got a battle in our hands, and Balta, of course, overtaking Bean Master right now, going into the chase for the battle for P4.
Yeah, there's quite a lot going on in the first lap, and I have to say, the best first lap has to go to this man. Side by side right now, Nardo trying to make his way through. He's currently in P11 and about to go for the move on the inside to get into the top 10 from 18th on the grid. Here we go into Brooklyn's going to be close. A little bit of contact between them. Is just getting a bit forceful there. Bacon Boys isn't going to be best pleased with that. He's going to try and fight it on the inside with the hard tyres, and in fact, he's able to do a very good job of doing so. So, yeah, Welb's able to hold the position there, so great fight in between those two. But yeah, Nardo in the Red Bull, which is obviously supposed to be a Mercedes, has had a very good start here, not able to make qualifying as Leland goes off in the background. Luckily for him, there's plenty of tarmac runoff there, but yeah, we have some great battles starting to brew already here, and yeah, Nardo making his way up the order, so do not count him out of this race.
Yep, and of course we should also consider that people at this point of the race, so just lap 2 out of 26, should actually consider not battle too much and just try to collaborate and avoid time loss throughout the race. I think right now the Red Bull and the McLaren are not thinking about saving time right now, and they're thinking about track position, which is turning out to quite an interesting and entertaining battle at least, so there's still that for us to watch.
Yeah, and I'm going to switch back up to the front of the field because here comes Bimpo. He might be going for track position as well. Heading into turn 3, is he going to try a dive bomb? Not quite close enough into Village, but he's going to try and offset the line a little bit, but I don't think Elias is going to give him any way through just yet. I think these guys will have to wait for DRS, but in fact we do have DRS already. We are on to lap 3, so there you go. You can see the flap is open on the Aston Martin, but pulls out of the tow. He doesn't want the move here, so perhaps he's just going to try and line it up into Stowe towards the end of the lap. But yeah, plenty to keep on top of, as always is at the start of the race, and indeed Nardo was able to get past Bacon Boys and get himself up into the P10, and already is going to be looking to close up to the back of Athari. Meanwhile, further down the order, I think Yokato is switching places, and meanwhile further up the order, I Like Trains and Hashim switching places, heading into Cops, no less. So yeah, I Like Trains getting a good little move there. It must have just been using ERS from the exit out of Brooklands, sorry, not out of Brooklands, out of Luffield, but yeah, gets himself back up into P4.
Yeah, and also a little bit out of shape out of the corner, but not as out of shape of Sashima, who went a little bit wide and now has Balta going for a maneuver out of the outside of which name this corner is, I can't remember. So out of Stove, and they still are side by side. Let's see in the braking zone if Balta can complete the overtake. Nope, decides to bail out and wait for maybe the DRS zone or some other occasion, like the little bit of a wiggly, let's say, line the Ferrari is going for. And also overtake. You can actually see how fast it's going in the straight to say that it's going for the overtake. Now, the battle for the lead still. Bimpo versus Lamo, yes. Bring us through with the commentary.
Yeah, we've got Aston versus Ferrari in two different fights here. It's going to be Elias still holding ahead of Bimpo, and likewise his teammate holding ahead of Bolter as things stand. But yeah, that may be subject to change very soon, because Bimpo with DRS closing up, but still not quite close enough. So you would have to assume that, as per usual, Elias will be running a fairly low downforce setup. Meanwhile, in the background, we've got it's all kicking off here. There's a bit of contact now between Athari and Busman Ryan there, and I think Athari was just getting shuffled out wide. There was quite a lot going on. Couldn't exactly tell what was happening, but ended up shaking out with Athari, still in P9, not able to make any progress, and yeah, Shadow holding on to P7 ahead of Busman Ryan. So I don't think there was actually any changes there in the end, but now there might be, because here goes Nardo. He's going to get past Athari before they even get to Maggots and Beckett. So yeah, he's continuing his march up the order, and Athari just seems a little bit off the pace today.
Yeah, I mean, we should also keep an eye on the battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Bimpo takes the lead from the Ferrari and goes through. But yeah, these three soft runners should actually try and not lose too much time. That was a clean overtake, so they didn't actually lose too much time. Also still battle between Aston Martin and the Ferrari, so Hashima versus Balta. Let's see who has it. It's the braking zone. Balta has it, and also a little bit of contact by the Ferrari, but it's nothing too big, I hope. But as I was trying to say, you know...
Spin in the background, I think that was Busman Ryan. Sorry to cut you off, just got tagged around on the inside. On the inside of the final corner, that is, yeah, it's not cost him too much. He didn't go the whole way around, but yeah, a big sideways moment for him. I just caught that, and yeah, he's going to drop down the order to P13 now, so unfortunately it's not been the cleanest of races for him. Meanwhile, Welb's a bit further up the order, going for a dive bomb on Leland, who's actually made some great progress in the race. Well, now they've made contact, going through turn 5. There's no more progress for those two, and coming to a halt on the inside of the track. And meanwhile, I was about to cut away because we've had a change for the lead up at the front. Elias has gotten past up into turn 6, and yeah, it's chaos here at Silverstone. We've got Hashim now side by side, banging tyres with Binmeister, who's managed to get past Balti, even on hards versus soft tyres, so clearly showing some good pace in the Red Bull, and making his way into Cops now. They are just about going to stay in the sensible order of single file, but yeah, things are really starting to kick off here.
And one thing I would like to let you all know or notice is that I Like Trains was 1.6 behind Loris, and now it's 1.3. So the medium tires are starting to get faster than the soft tires already in lap 5. So we should keep an eye on that gap, and also those scores. Also keep an eye on the battle for the lead and the battle for B-Meister, let's say.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of overtakes going on. The DRS zone's providing us an incomprehensible amount of action, and at the moment we've got Blazer and Bablo going side by side, heading through Stowe, and Blazer with a tidy little move on the inside, gets himself up into P12, and yeah, doing alright on the hard tyres. He'll be going long, of course, so we'll see how the strategy works out for him down towards the end of the race. But yeah, there's a lot to keep on top of, and this the fight in the midfield right now is getting very heated. There's been plenty of instances of contact, and unfortunately the biggest victims of that, I suppose, are the drivers, who are now down in 17th and 18th of Lelin and Timblesh. Timblesh actually back into the pits, no less. So yeah, not a great start for Alpine, unfortunately, just not been their day to day, and yeah, there is still plenty of time for them to try and recover that as we progress through the race, but yeah, not ideal start for them.
Yep, and now, keeping an eye on the battle of the lead, we can see Bimpo still keeping at 0.3 gap from the leader of the race, which of course is still Lamau, yes. and probably waiting for the DRS zone to either try and overtake or, just keeps himself into the slipstream and, of course, recharge a little bit of the battery, which can, of course, be very useful in the later phases of the race with the overtaking maneuvers. Now, of course, DRS gets open, and let's see if something happens, but I don't think so. They're a little bit too spread out here. In the background, we still got a little bit of battling, especially with the Ferrari and Aston Martin, which this time happens to be nothing, and there's contact. There's contact between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas, and also, who was that on? It was Beckham Boys going very fast right through this crash, so good for him who missed the wreckage, of course, but not very good for Pablo and, of course, the other drivers, which is Jokata.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, despite there being no safety cars after the first 7 laps, it's not been particularly clean so far. There's been a lot of barging together, and unfortunately another spin there. This time it was Pablo and Yokata, like you say, so those guys now going to cycle down to the bottom of the order, but I would have to say, with the way the race is panning out at the moment, it would be a miracle if we don't end up with a safety car at some point, so those guys, their races may not be over just yet, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully the driving standards do clean up a little bit as the race progresses, and hopefully once people start to get used to the feel of the car a bit more, we can have some more nice clean battles like what we've seen so far up at the front of the field, where it is still Elias holding on from Bimpo, and I suspect, as I was trying to say earlier on, with probably a little bit lower wings, although Bimpo was the one struggling there on the way into Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, probably a little bit of dirty air as well, which of course can affect the cars throughout the high-speed corners, which, here Silverstone everything is a high-speed corner, so could very quite well be. Now, here we got a little bit of a DRS train, so not really a lot of action going on here, because it's very difficult to have an overtaking when the DRS effect is nullified by the fact that everyone has it. And now, into lap 7, we should actually start and think if someone is going for an early pit stop, maybe for the hard tires, or is actually waiting for, having a little bit of better chance with the tire wear later on with the hard tire or the medium one.
Yeah, I think the soft runners will be starting to come in fairly soon, you'd imagine. I think around about 9 or 10 laps is probably what they'll be aiming for, but perhaps if somebody fancies an undercut, then they may go a little bit earlier than that, so as you rightly point out, to make sure to keep our eyes peeled. Obviously, drivers down to the bottom of the order have unfortunately had to make a couple pit stops already. That's Paul Diver and Tim Blesh, so yeah, we'll see if those guys can gain anything from that. But meanwhile, side by side is Hashim and Balta, and actually Nardo and sorry, I'm getting all confused there. There was Binmeister and Hashim going side by side. Now Nardo and Balta are side by side, and Balta actually goes off the track a bit there, banging tyres further up the road as Shadow just trying to hold onto the position from the Ferrari, and just about able to do so heading into turn 9. But yeah, things are getting very heated once again here, and the DRS train has started to break, because here goes the Red Bull up the inside. Nardo continuing to make moves, but not able to make it work this time. Tried to go side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. It was enviable bravery, but he's just going to have to play the sensible game and get the DRS now heading down the Hangar Straight, but he's not got the straight line speed heading towards Sov, so yeah, it's going to be Hashim who holds the position at the moment.
Hashim, I think, is going all out with the overtaking button, of course, and here into the braking zone we can see driver, of course, not trying nothing too crazy, except of course Afari, who is trying to attack Nado, and they're banging wheels all the way around, and Afari goes wide, so in the end, he wanted to gain a position, he lost one, so not a very optimal play, let's say, from him, but he's still in the race, and he's still alive. Meanwhile, the battle between Ferrari and Red Bull continues, and we can see Binmaster defending for his life with those hard tires against a feeding medium Hashima behind him, and of course Nado, who had one hell of a recovery drive up to now, still behind both of them, and waiting for an occasion to pounce.
And here it's pouncing into turn 6, goes Hashim up the inside of the Red Bull. This time he seems to have been able to get it done cleanly and use the what's left of the medium tyre advantage. There's not going to be too much of that anymore, but yeah, if there is still any left, he's made good use of that here and gets himself up into P5, but I suspect that yeah, this is likely to be all change again once they get onto the straight. Meanwhile, already approaching the straight is the battle up at the front of the field, which has been, as we say, a lot cleaner so far, and well, the second I say it, Loris makes a bit of a mistake, but yeah, it's not going to cost him too much. The main thing that these three want to do is keep in DRS of each other, and meanwhile, speaking of not being clean, we've got another incident in the S's, and this time, Bossman Ryan has gone off. Has there been anyone with him? No, it doesn't look like it, but yeah, Bossman Ryan, unfortunately, the next person to fall victim of this very heated battle that's still raging on for P5 at the moment, as now, I think into the pits has gone Loris. Indeed he has, but we're focusing at the moment on this side-by-side action between the Ferrari and the Red Bull, and up the inside goes the other Red Bull of Nardo, who's obviously not supposed to be in the Red Bull, but the teammates are going to be wheel-to-wheel nonetheless, and into turn 1, almost banging tyres now through Abbey at turn 2. It's a brilliant battle between these guys, sending it into the inside. Contact once again. It's very scruffy here, unfortunately, and it's going to be Shadow forced well out wide by his technically teammate there, but obviously Nardo's not going to be treating him as such, given that he is a full-time Mercedes driver, and yeah, that means he's just barged the Red Bull of Shadow completely off the track there, and I suspect the stewards are going to be incredibly busy after this race.
Yeah, Horner right now scratching his head, thinking there is an imposter among us, and right now we still got the battle all around. As we pointed out earlier, we got Loris into the pit lane. We went for, of course, the hard tire, so one-stop strategy I think is quite confirmed for him. And we gotta keep an eye on him, because right now he's gonna use the fresh hard tires to try and undercut Bimpo and Lamau, yes, and he actually may end up a little bit ahead of those guys once they go into the pit lane. So keep an eye on both of them and keep an eye on Loris. Meanwhile, but of course, between Jakarta and Loris, so no, wait, actually, it's not Loris, it's Pablo, so my bad. And yeah, while the battle rages on, I'll keep the commentary up to someone who can actually speak English more fluently than me.
And the battle we're going to have to switch to now, I've not been doing the best job so far, but I'll try my best. There's a lot to keep on top of, and getting very close and making contact there. He's completely locking the brakes with Hashim, just really clearly trying to block the switchback, which he did a good job of, but it was, again, a little bit sketchy between these guys. Unfortunately, it seems to be less of a F1 race and more of like bumper carts at the moment, but yeah, we'll see if, like we say, I'm going to have to hold out hope that things get a bit cleaner. Meanwhile, a nice clean move comes in from Shadow. There we go, that's how you do it. And yeah, nice little dive bomb up the inside to reclaim P6 from Bolter, whose soft tyres will be surely falling off the cliff by now, and you'd imagine that the leading fight of Elias and Bimpo, although it's not much of a fight at the moment, are probably going to be making their way into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yep, and so we wait and see, because of course now the main strategy is, the main question is how the strategies are gonna play out, because we got an all around battle between the Red Bulls and the Ferrari here for P4. Light Race in the middle ground in P3, which is of course gonna be P4 once everything is getting cycled out with the strategies. And the battle, of course, for the lead, which still rages on, but as you may notice, people in the top 2 are not trying to overtake each other, which I think is quite a smart choice, if you think about it. But also I think it's due to the fact that Lamau may be a little bit too fast. So now we're going to see how the strategy is going to play out with a very close pit lane entry. And now also everyone else are going to try and fight, of course, with the medium tires. They're not going to go into the pit lane as well. Again. And big contact. This fight is,
yeah, this fight is running on spite and nothing else at the moment between these guys. There's clearly a lot of tension going on between them as the leaders make their way into the pit. So this is now technically the fight for P2 on the road, as I Like Trains has managed to bank himself some clean air that once he watches the race back, I'm sure he will be incredibly thankful for that he's not being involved in this battle, which is clearly just holding up all of these drivers a great deal and might in fact start to hold up the leaders a little bit later on. But yeah, we'll see how that pans out. And yeah, at the moment,
one second that I just noticed, Lamau, yes, and Bimpo are both on the medium tires, not the hard tires. So, and they got jumped by Loris. So now Loris is ahead by a little bit of a big margin, and he's going to try and run away as fast as possible, because the hard tires will be stronger than the mediums, but not as soon as right now, and while the battle still rages on. I suggest to keep an eye between Loris and Lamau, yes, because that battle is going to be quite interesting, especially in the long run, a big contact between the Red Bull and the Ferrari of Hashima.
Yeah, this is not the driving standards that we want to see, unfortunately, and yeah, clearly people just letting the emotions get the better of them in this fight, and Hashim is going to pick up a penalty from the track limits, not from the stewards just yet, but I'm sure there's going to be plenty of discussions going on after the race about driving standards here, and yeah, unfortunate to see the race and not be as clean as we would like to see. But yeah, like you point out, there is still at least a nice clean battle going on for the win of this race, which is getting a whole new layer added to it now by the fact that Loris on the hard tyres is going to be side by side no less with Elias, who's on the mediums, and yeah, Bimpo likewise on the mediums. So these guys clearly thinking the tyre wear is quite low here today, and going to try and go to the end. You would have to imagine on those tyres. There's no way they're going to make another stop unless there's a safety car. So yeah, see what these guys can do in their fight, and now getting fight ahead of them in a crash, and out of the race goes Bossman Ryan, and he takes Elias with him. Unbelievable. I was just about to say that they were coming up on some traffic that was already involved in its own fight. Safety car is straight out, and out of the race is Bossman Ryan for the second week running. Elias is a very lucky boy to still be in the race after all that, and seemingly with minimal damage, but that was, well, it's just all kicked off in the matter of seconds there, and safety car out of the pits, strategy out of the window.
Well, as you said, unless there is a safety car, and as you said that, literally at 0.5 seconds later, we got one. So, of course, we're gonna see Elias going to the pit lane because that, that front wing ain't gonna be quite good to have. But let's think about Bean Master, Hashima, and Afari, because all of them are gonna be gaining a lot of time. I mean, Bean Master could actually go for the medium tires and try to go to the end. I think it's the medium tires can go for it. But yeah, it's going to be quite difficult for him. But Hashima, Afari, Mascon, they are going to be in the prime seat for a free pit stop here, and going to go in the prime seat for the battle for the lead. So this race has turned into its own head, and people who went for an early pit stop are now, well, let's say screwed, except maybe Team Blash, Bulldiver, and all the people who went for a pit stop in the lap 1 incident that happened during the first chaotic part of the race. Also, penalties raining for pit lane speed limits, and yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this race. Thankfully, we're finally going to get a breather, but it's going to be a completely different race by the time the safety car peels back into the pits, you'd imagine, because these guys are all going to get discounted pit stops. Shadow, though, he's picked up a 5-second penalty on his way into the pits, so not ideal for him, of course. And yeah, obviously, with it being quite a long pit lane, the advantage will not be nearly as large, but let's see who's going to stay out, who's back in. So Bimpo, he's the only driver, it seems, apart from one of the Red Bulls further down the order, who's actually stayed out here. So Bimpo's committed to this. He's going to go to the end on those mediums, which I have to say, great call by him, because his track position has just been bumped right up to the top of the field, and with the pace that he's got, he might be in prime position to take his second race win in a row here. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and I have to say I'm very surprised to see some of the drivers into the pits there that we've just seen pit only a few laps ago.
I mean, I'm actually more surprised to see people like Lamau, Yes, Afari, and Hashima going for the soft tires, because
wow,
I'm not saying it's not possible, but I think it's, it's a little bit of a too big of a gamble, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's not gonna work, but I think with the struggle they're gonna face in the later phase of the race with those tires, I don't really think it's worth it. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how it's gonna play out for them. So right now we got Hashima, who's gonna probably fight for the lead, and let's hope not in a obstructive way, even though he has a penalty. Then Bean Master behind with the mediums, new fresh mediums, who could also fight for the lead if he really wants to. Afari, another contender, who if can keep his head cool could actually try and do something. Then we got Maxcon and Nado on the hot tires, who are of course waiting for a more longer planned strategy. So they're gonna be in the back foot in the first few laps of the restart. But when the race is gonna go for the dying phases, when they're gonna fight, that's when they're gonna fight back. So I'd keep an eye on them. Then we got everyone on the mediums, and of course Lamau, Yes, who's gonna have to try and fight back to get back into the podium positions. So we got a race in our hands, lads.
We absolutely have a race in our hands. I've got to say, I have to hope that we're able to stay green until the checkered flag here, because this mix of strategies is going to be incredibly interesting to watch. I think the mediums has to be the tyre to be on right now, but yeah, interesting though that, like you point out, we have 3 drivers who've pitted for a set of soft tyres. So the Ferrari team, obviously under the strategy guise of Aero, has decided to go for both cars onto a set of soft tyres. They clearly think the tyre wear is low enough that they can get to the end on those and get to the end with some respectable pace as well. So it's going to be really interesting to watch this. And yeah, we have drivers out of position, out of order on different tyres. It's going to be an incredibly entertaining race to watch until the checkered flag here. But I can only hope that given this little pause in the action, hopefully people are able to cool down a little bit, and Max gone disconnect from the session. He's currently in P5, so hopefully he's able to rejoin. You would assume so. So his AI seems to be doing normal things at the moment, which is good. And yeah, hopefully he's able to rejoin before the safety car comes back in. But yeah, as I was saying, I can only hope that the driving standards are going to be a bit cleaner now, that hopefully everyone's had a bit of a chance to cool themselves off, and now, with a lot of drivers having new opportunities and a fresh chance to try and get some good points from this race.
Yes, and now, of course, I expect the safety car to come in at the end of this lap, because the whole train has caught up to the SC, and so we just gotta have to wait for the restart. And yeah, this is gonna be interesting. If I have to guess, we're gonna see a very not, I'm not gonna say competitive, I think I'm gonna say a very aggressive Hashim and a very aggressive, I think it was Safari on the soft tires, I can't remember. But yep, that's gonna be interesting. Bean Master, I'm gonna find it a little bit difficult to see him win the race with a 8-second penalty, but he's gonna try. And also, we should keep an eye on Loris, which even though he has a 5 seconds penalty, he showed how fast he could be in racing conditions, so we just have to see if he can actually keep up and of course get back into the positions he were before. So this is gonna be quite an interesting restart. And now with the safety car coming in, I led the commentary up to our guest commentator here, which is, of course is not me, but I have no idea what I'm saying. So cool, let's commit to the race restart.
That's alright. I'll take the reins from you here, and it is going to be very interesting once we get underway, and actually changing places a bit prematurely. Beblu and Pool Diver, thankfully those two have restored the order, but now it's up to Bimpo then. He's the oldest tyre runner in the field with 3-lap-old mediums, but he is at the front of it, and he gets to decide when he's going to put down the power, which is going to be right now. He goes early, so we are getting ourselves restarted and back underway with the British Grand Prix here, and let's see what everyone can do. It seems like a good restart by Bimpo. He managed to break a bit of a gap to the soft run of Hashima behind him, but obviously, being on those soft tyres, he's going to be mighty quick, you'd expect, off the restart, and mighty quick is Loris, who's going to have to overtake the AI of Blazer, who disconnected from the session, getting a little bit sketchy for Welbs, who's trying to find his way through as well, and he will presumably do so up the inside at turn 3. So this is, oh no, it's contact at turn 3, the AI turns in on him, and well, that's just terrible luck for Bacon Boys. Thankfully he doesn't lose too many places, but yeah, we've got even AIs are causing carnage in this race, but yeah, there's a lot going on, and now we've got a battle going on up towards the front of the field. It's Nardo getting past MaxCon, so the two hard runners at the top of the order switching places, and Nardo continuing his meteoric rise through the grid, but obviously on the hardest compound he might start to struggle a little bit once these guys get their tyres up to temperature.
Keep an eye on the Aston Martin, because he could try something crazy. No, he didn't, thankfully. And I don't know you, but I got a little bit of a feeling that people are not gonna be too happy at the end of this race, like generally. So
you don't say.
We're gonna have to see at the end of the race, of course, a driver interview. But getting back into the action, of course, we got Balta versus Maxon, so hard tires versus medium tires, which should be a slam dunk overtake, but of course it's never really easy to overtake without DRS. So for now, the Aston Martin getting a little bit of a look around the AlphaTauri, or we should say actually the Visa Cash App, whatever the hell it's called. But nope, he cannot find a gap for now, and he has to wait a little bit behind. Meanwhile, Bimpo fastest lap, followed by Hashima, still 6th behind. And also battle between Loris and Balta into turn 1. Let's see who has the best line. Loris has it.
And Loris does exactly what he did this time last lap, this time on a real driver, and gets himself up into P7. So on those medium tyres going well, and going for a move, in fact, into turn 4 here, going through the loop, and he might just be able to make it work. Side by side through Aintree. Is there DRS yet? No, we're going to have to wait another lap for that. So yeah, Loris, wheel to wheel, this is a battle of raw pace. Meanwhile, Elias trying to make a move in the background. Loris gets it done up the inside, and likewise, so does Elias on the soft tyres, of course. He is going to be mighty quick on the restart, and has already made up made up 5 places from P13 up to P8, so he is charging in this race, and he is going to be trying to get the best result he can, because he knows, up at the front of the field, Bimpo, he's not running away with it, of course, because Hashim, his teammate, on the soft tyres, is definitely going to give him a hard time, but yeah, he's on the soft, and he's got the track, on the mediums, and he's got the track position, and by the end of the race, you would presume, we'll have the tyre advantage as well, so let's see how this goes. There's going to be DRS next time around for this Ferrari of Hashim. We've seen how feisty he can be today, and I would suspect he might be putting up a bit more of a fight once again in a few moments' time. But meanwhile, the fight is mainly with his teammate Lamau, yes, gets up the inside and past Maxcon down the street and gets himself up into P7 and right onto the back of Loris, where he was before the safety car.
Now, of course, with DRS enabled, the battle for the lead is going to be quite interesting, because although Hashima has a penalty, and so I find it quite difficult to get a win from that position, it's still possible to fight with Bimpo enough to hold him up enough to get, Lamau, yes, and everyone else close enough to the battle for the lead. Of course, we're gonna see how this is gonna get played. Well, Time Blash get a 3-second penalty for track limits. But that being said, DRS gets open right now, and I think the Ferrari is a little bit too far away from the leader, and Bean Master could actually get a little bit more feisty into this fight once the softs start to fade, which is of course gonna be in a little bit longer while from now, because they are of course just 4 laps old for now.
And meanwhile, I think we might have contact again here in the background. I'm not sure who for. There's, I think it's Davey dropping down the order. And meanwhile, we've got side-by-side action between Yokata and Bacon Boys. This is the fight for P11 on the road, getting a bit close together through Woodcote there. But Bacon Boys makes the move, stick round the outside, and holds off the position for the time being on the medium tyres versus the hards of the Haas behind him. But we're going to have to look up the order further, because up at the front of the field, it's about to get very heated for the lead of the race. In fact, we've got a spin further down the order, because Nardo has gone round in the S's. Meanwhile, up at the front, here we go, blocking all the way to try and get the move done without coming under pressure from the Red Bull. And Hashim is going to try and look up the inside now. Shadow's trying to get involved. There's a bit of contact between him and Bimpo. It's getting just as feisty as we predicted, but Bimpo's managed to run away a little bit. There's more contact now between the Ferrari and the Red Bull, and it seems like these guys have got into their own battle. Safety car is out again, because we've got a crash on the exit of Stowe here, and we've got multiple cars out of the race. Nardo out, Yokata backwards, it's all kicked off again.
And so second safety car is out, and many people this time are out of the race, and also Bimpo disqualified. What the hell?
What? Oh my god, it's all going on here. Bimpo, he must have overtaken the safety car. He's been disqualified from the race. All of a sudden, Binmeister's found himself into the lead once again. This is an absolutely unbelievable Grand Prix, I've got to say. And suddenly, Elias gets himself back into P5 with Loris up into P4 by virtue of the amount of cars who've just had the most unbelievable misfortunes happen to them. Bimpo, from the lead, has been disqualified. What on earth is going on?
Nah, Chief, I'm gonna call BS on this one. I'm sorry, but Bimpo doesn't deserve a disqualification, especially when he's fighting for the lead. But this is the current situation at hand, and what the mother of all Codemasters moments has just happened. So with the second safety car chaos has happened, we got Bean Master in the lead, which I don't think he's gonna keep, because he had like 10 seconds worth of penalty. Like 11 seconds worth of penalty. Then Hashim and the Fari, which are a little bit more competitive than Loris, which actually managed to get into P4. But then the guy I think is gonna have the most, let's say, the most prominent chance to get a win, which of course is Lamau Yes in P5 with still soft tires, which are getting a little bit older at this point. But still a very fast car, no penalties, which of course is very crucial at this point of the race. And let's say a will to fight, which is quite unbelievable.
Yeah, and I was just having a look at the league chat right now, because Loris has also been disconnected from the session. His Wi-Fi's gone out, so his AI is currently carrying him around in P4. Luckily for him, there's plenty of drivers quite far back at the moment. And now we've got something else is going on. Paul Diver's just driving his way through the field because he wants to get into the pits. That's a cheeky strategy there, but technically it's all legal, so that's what he's going to do, and comes into the pits alongside Elias, actually. So, yeah, Elias has just been jumped by Paul Diver into the pits by, some dubious methods. I don't know if that's... I mean, the game will allow it as legal, obviously. As you can see, he's not picked up a penalty, but again, maybe even more work for the stewards to do, as now we actually have a train of cars making their way in. So, yeah, clearly people weren't happy with the original strategy, and onto, understandably, a fresh set of softs for everyone who's going to be in now, you would imagine. Let's just change and see. Yep, everyone who's pitted has come onto softs, apart from Leland, who must not have any fresh softs remaining, so he's going to switch onto a set of mediums. And, the race resets once again.
Yeah, all I have to say is it makes absolute sense to go into the pit lane right now to get a fresh set of softs, because, I mean, on the one point of view, you could argue, why the hell would you not do that? We got a safety car, we got a chance to get rid of the tires who could potentially, get a puncture in near the end of the race and ruin everything you've done so far. So it would make absolute sense just to go for the safer option and try and get back into position in the later phase of the race. Then, of course, Lamau, yes, got a little bit lucky, of course, with the fact most of the field went into pit lane with him. So it's not too big of a, let's say, position loss on track. But now, fresh tire, very few laps to go. I think it's going to be just 5 laps to go once the safety car comes in, maybe 4 if we're going to be quite unlucky, but I don't think so. And then he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to fight for everything. And, he's one of the few guys with no penalties on the field, so he doesn't really have to push too hard right now. He can just take it a little bit easy, not too much, and get into position to get a win with just the penalties if needed.
And as if this race wasn't crazy enough, it wasn't just Loris's internet, it's his entire internet service provider has completely gone kaput. So his race is about to go very south very quickly because the safety car is going to be in this lap, and unfortunately he is not back in the session. So yeah, this is just a total mess of a race. I hate to say, but yeah, let's see what we can salvage out of the final 6 laps, and let's hope that at least we can get some clean racing this time around. And yeah, I know that I'm obviously being just a little bit optimistic, but it's going to be Shadow then as the safety car pulls into the pits, who is going to decide when we pull away. He seems to have gone a little bit early. I think he's just gone now, just before the final set of corners, and let's see if that gets him a decent restart. Seems to, because Hashima has run wide behind him, or Hashim, sorry, and he's going to be vulnerable to Afari. Has a look up the inside, but doesn't have the overspeed, and immediately making moves is Lamau, yes, trying to get past Bablo, and indeed doing so, and getting himself straight up into P7, as off the track goes Timblish now. I have no idea how that's even happened. Might have been from contact. Now there's contact into the back of MaxCon, and unfortunately the Chaos is just going to pick up exactly where it left off. And yeah, Timblish with grass on the tyres has just completely dive-bombed MaxCon there, taking him straight out of the race, and he is obviously not going to be very pleased with that. But there is still, believe it or not, a race going on further up the order. Lamau, yes, passes Loris's AI to get into P5, and he is all of a sudden in a very strong position in this race now.
And I can just feel the rage from literally every single driver on the grid right now. Well, we got another yellow flag, but I think it's just the Mercedes Dave who just got a little bit of a spin. And, well, Bacon Boys and the Fari fight, and Bablo, I think, has a little bit of an issue because he... No, it's actually Loris. Sorry, I just forgot that Loris is an AI, so he's getting overtaken all the way around. We got a little bit of a race on our hand. We got, of course, Lamau, yes, who is getting easily into position to win the race. And then we got Bean Master, who can get into position to win the race. He just have to, pull out a 10 seconds gap in 5 laps, which I guess is quite doable. But right now, battle for the... I don't literally know what I'm watching right now. But Williams versus the now gone... Actually, not gone, because that's Bablo. So Bablo versus the Williams. And while Timblish gets another penalty, here things stay quite the same. Actually, not really, because we saw Paul Diver getting into P7, so quite a nice drive here for him. Also, another yellow flag. We got Timblish actually retiring into the pit lane, and save for Dave, I think, quite soon enough. And while the battle rages on, we see the Williams going for an overtake on the Aston Martin of Balta, which is the only survivor WhatsApp car right here. And while we're seeing this battle going on and raging on, we can only wonder who is gonna win, which I mean, it's quite an easy question, of course, because we got a battle between Backup Boys and Dashima, and right behind them, of course, also Lamau, yes, who is waiting for an occasion to pounce back and attack for P2, which of course is gonna turn into P1 once the penalties get applied.
And important to point out as well, I wasn't sure if you'd rejoined the session or not, but I did see Afari had disconnected, so it seems like that must be why he's dropping down the order. So yeah, I think he is unfortunately another one who's stranded in AI mode, and luckily for him, he's not suffered the same fate as Loris just yet. But yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. Meanwhile, Bacon Boys, his teammate, doing a fantastic job. He's been one of the few drivers who's kept it somewhat clean this race, and has wound up in P2 as a result. And yeah, in behind him is Hashim, who's presumably just going to let his teammate go, I would guess. And yeah, there we go, into Stowe. So one normal thing happens in this race. That's good to see. And now I think Elias is going to be right onto the back and presumably straight past the McLaren ahead of him and surging towards his what would be 3rd race victory of the season. So yeah, let's see if he can make it work. And I think he's very much in the driving seat right now, as long as he can make a clean overtake. And making a clean move behind him is I Like Trains, who gets past Afari's AI and up into P7. So yeah, it's basically just the race has been foregone at this point. There's no pride left in it. Just try and survive and get as many points as you can, because it's been a complete demolition derby here in Silverstone. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be, as much as Shadow is doing a great job of pulling away at the moment. He's managed to get a 3-second gap. Unfortunately for him, Elias Gas is well within the 11-second window and is going to go round the outside now, heading into Luffield on the inside, and is about to get past the McLaren of Bacon Boys, who will try and fight it. He's also on a set of soft tyres, so they are going to stay level, in fact, around the outside. He's giving it his best, giving it his all, but not quite able to do it, I don't think, into cups. And yeah, Lamarius holds a position. Meanwhile, side by side behind them, Paul Diver around the outside of cups. What a move by the Williams driver. He's been incredibly feisty today, as we've seen, and from 19th on the grid, he finds himself with no penalties in P4. An incredible drive by him, and losing the back end and another crash. It wasn't over yet, and we've got 3 cars into the wall, and it's going to be virtual safety car this time. That may be upgraded yet, and this time it's I Like Trains Balter, and I didn't see who the other one was. I think it was, well, I mean, we'll see the car without the front wing, I would assume, but yeah, 3 cars involved. I think it was Hashim, the other one, and well, unfortunately, this time at least it was just a mistake, nobody crashing into each other. But yeah, that was, I suppose it was going to happen at some point, knowing how this race has gone, and unfortunately we have yet another virtual safety car.
Yep, another bit, I mean, thankfully this time it's just a virtual safety car, but yeah, we got another big crash. And as you were pointing out, Paul Diver, hell of a drive, because he has no penalties. He's right here fighting for, well, potentially the lead.
P2. Well, yeah, I suppose P1 as
well.
well.
Potentially could be the lead, because if some way he gets ahead of Bacon Boys, or even ahead of Lamau, yes, even for just the last lap, you know, that's the winning position. So, considering he started in bloody last position, that's one hell of a driver. So, yeah, we're getting green in just a few seconds, I think, and now we've got to see how this is going to end up. And Afari gets a penalty. Lamau gets a penalty.
Oh, yeah. What? Everyone's got a penalty. What is going on here? The game has just completely lost it. 20-second penalties applied to the top 4 drivers. From second down to 4th. Down to 5th, they've got 20 seconds of penalties. This game cannot get any more insane. Here goes Paul Diver, he's going to get up the inside. So these guys are suddenly all on risk of disqualification. This is an absolutely mental race. I can't even conceive of how in the final 2 laps we're still getting things like this happening, but it gets even more insane, and all of a sudden, a fight for the win between the driver who started last on the grid and the driver who started first, because it couldn't be any more insane. So,
Chief, you're forgetting something. Bloody Blazer somehow now is in the fight for the lead.
I will say those 20-second penalties will absolutely be removed after the race. So it seems like Blazer then, Blazer, Yokata, and Maxcon. Maxcon's a bit too far back, so it's going to be Blazer or Yokata who are going to be gifted the win by the game. We'll see what those two can work out amongst themselves. But yeah, those penalties will almost certainly be removed after the race. There's absolutely no possible way that a 20-second time penalty is remotely legitimate, if the race is even classified at all, to be honest. So we'll have to wait and see. I would hope so, seeing as we do still have 15 finishers who've tried their best, and still putting up with all of the shenanigans that Codemasters has thrown their way. But yeah, it's going to be a long, long night for the stewards, and I have to hand out my condolences to them. But 25 laps out of 26 completed. Surely it can't get much more insane than this for the final couple of laps, and we are going to have a battle for what we think will be the win between Lamarius and Paul Diver, and then a battle for what the game will say is the win between Blazer and Yokata.
So welcome back, guys. We are on lap 25 or 26 of the British Grand Prix, and if you just tuned in and you're wondering who the hell is winning, well, we have no idea either. So
no clue.
We're just gonna watch who he's gonna get ahead of anyone. So now the Williams going for an attack on the Ferrari into, I was going to say Cops, but this is not Cops, of course, and gets ahead. So potentially, Paul Diver could win this race if he can actually.
On the grid.
I don't know really. I have no idea, so...
Here we go. Here's a very intense fight, because this is between what the game is going to say is the race win. Blazer and Yokata going wheel to wheel. If I was them, I'd be trying not to fight, to be honest, or not too much at least, because once those 20-second penalties get removed, assuming they do, then they will want to stay within 3 seconds of the 2 McLarens ahead of them so that they can get a couple extra places. But yeah, this is an unbelievable race, and we are finally onto the final lap of it now, and we're about to see well, two different battles for the lead, because obviously we are. Round the outside goes Elias, heading into Brooklands on the final lap of the race, gets the move done, and Pole Diver, though, he's going to stay right in behind, taps the back, in fact, he's really right in behind, pushing him through at left field there, and he is going to be fighting this one all the way to the checkered flag. Come the Hanger Straight, this Williams is going to be looking to make a move for what could be his first win in LRC on his return to the series from last on the grid in incredible fashion, if the stewards see his case fairly. If they don't, then it's going to be Blazer or Yokata, one of them a reserve, so Yokata would probably be giving it anyway, but Blazer or Yokata might be fighting it out for whatever the game is going to decide as the win on the final lap of the race. But here we go, Pool Diver is going to look to the outside of Elias here, into Stowe. Is he going to find a way through? Elias is going to fight it all the way, losing the back end of the both of them, but I think Elias might just hold on to it. Looking at a move in the background was Bacon Boys, and Elias into the Vale chicane is going to hold the lead. So across the line, Binmeister will take the first win, Elias will take the second win, and in a few moments time, Yokata will take the third win in P6, which becomes P1 in the most incredible race I have ever seen. And I mean, make of that what you will, because I have no idea what the finishing result is here, because this has been one of the most insane races I have ever seen.
So guys, if you were missing, I don't know, endurance races with hypercars LM2 and GT cars, here we got three different classes, which of course are the penalties, the not penalized, and of course the we have no fucking idea class. So we got three different winners, and we have no idea who they are. So this is gonna be quite an interesting night for the stewards, and we would like to say to you who won this race, but trust me, we have no idea. So we'll have just to wait and see.
Yeah, according to the provisional order, Bablo's managed to find his way into P5, Lil in P6 as well. Like I say, absolutely no idea what the end result is going to be from this one. You're just going to have to tune in this time next week for the race at Belgium, which is hopefully going to be a hell of a lot cleaner than this one. It can only go up from here, realistically. So, yeah, we'll announce whatever the result is in qualifying this time next week. Or if you want to see it a bit sooner, then you can join the server and, well, I suppose, see if it's actually able to be decided by this time next week, because I suspect the stewards are going to have about 150 different tickets to go through. And, yeah, it's an absolutely insane race that comes out with Yokata being given the win by the game, Elias, we think, taking the win on the road, to be decided, and then, yeah, with the Binmeister taking the win on the road, and Elias, we think, taking the actual win once all the penalties are sorted out. But there you go, there's a podium you wouldn't have expected today. It's Haas, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Yokata takes the top step and takes the trophy home from Codemasters. What a race.
Well, now I would like to say what the finishing order is like, but I genuinely don't know. So
yeah,
I hope you had a little bit of fun during this race. I mean, I'm pretty sure the driver didn't too much, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out eventually who won. So now we're just gonna have to wait and see.
I've heard some reports from the drivers that the penalties were not showing up correctly for certain drivers. So yeah, we may have, in that case, that may be a valid reason to discount the finishing order of the race and potentially, unfortunately, invalidate everybody's efforts. But obviously, we have a week to decide that, and we'll see what conclusion the stewards do come to. But yeah, let's present you the games version of the final standings of the most unbelievable league race you'll probably ever see, and that is with Yokata P1 ahead of Blazer in second place. Wouldn't have expected me to say that today. Then Shadow, despite 11 seconds of penalties, holds on to third from MaxCon P4. Somehow Mr. Consistent still gets a solid result from this race. Then Bablo P5, Lelan P6, Elias in P7. From Saul Belter reserving in P8. Then Paul Diver from 19th gets P9, allegedly. Bacon Boys P10, Afari 11th, from Hashima 12th, Loris 13th, I Like Trains 14th, Davey 15th as the last of the finishers, and everybody else did not make it to the checkered flag. What an unbelievable race. We are going to have to go and take a few minutes break to process what just happened and consult some therapists and make sure that all of the drivers are doing okay. And then after that, we will just, we'll see if anybody has some interviews, and I think there may be quite a lot of words going around after this one. So yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes' time. Alright then, welcome back everybody. We are here once again, and it is time for what might just be the most interesting driver interviews you've ever seen, or maybe not, because who knows at this point. Blazer has actually made his claim for the fourth winner of the race in the league chat, so we may actually have another option. There is also the driver of the day poll in the chat, which heavily encourage you to vote on that. Got some really great options this time, just some great people who deserve to be rewarded. But yeah, I think after that, it is time to. Loris's electricity is turned off, so he's not going to be doing an interview today. So yeah, let's start off then by interviewing our race. Oh wait, never mind. I don't know who that is. So let's start off. I'm going to go in order of who is in the waiting room, and we will start off with Bimpo, who didn't make it to the checkered flag. Let's get him in. Bimpo, hello.
Oh my god, hi.
Well. A lot to talk about today. Usually I have a bit of trouble asking questions, but I don't think that's going to be the case this time. You're our first interview. You were one of our many race leaders and race not winners. Nobody actually knows who won the race in the end. So, yeah, unfortunately, though, you were, it seemed like, in a pretty prime position to do so, but then disqualified. So, yeah, what happened with that?
So the safety car came out, and then I got told to pass the safety car. And then as soon as I passed the safety car, it told me to give the position back. Didn't give me time to give it back, and then I got disqualified.
Right, that's exactly what I suspected. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'd have guessed happened. So lovely Codemaster stuff there. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess not too much to say about that. That's just beautiful Codemaster's game design there. How did the rest of your race go then? Before that point?
It was alright. I was happily sat behind Elias, but the tire wear was too bad on my end to really do anything. First safety car was good. Obviously Elias had to pit because I think he had damage, so that was a good position for me. And then it all just kind of second safety car happened, and then we don't talk about what happened after that.
Yeah, there's. I mean, luckily for you, you probably missed the worst of the chaos for most of the race. There was, I mean, the chaos really started from lap one of the race, but it was mainly in the midfield for a while until eventually it exploded to consume the entire field and ruin the whole race. But yeah, either way, I think you can still be at least fairly happy with your drive today, then, no?
Yeah, I'm getting more into the swing of things, especially after last week, which was probably one of my best drives ever.
For sure.
So I'm kind of riding that high. It's just unfortunate I couldn't turn it into a win today, but we'll have to see what happens next week.
Yeah, and I mean, it's entirely possible, as we've mentioned already, that the race does potentially get null and voided. We obviously don't know. That's going to be up to the stewards. But yeah, if that does happen, then at least you can go into next week knowing that nothing was actually lost. And yeah, you can go again and pretend that Belgium was actually the race after Austria. So yeah, how do you feel you'll do in Spa?
Oh, it is not my greatest track. I absolutely hate it on this game. There's something about it that just does not click with me. So it's not going to be my best race, but I'm still going to give it my all.
Fair enough. And well, also, would would the possibility of inclement weather, would that help, or would that be even worse for you?
I mean, I'm a lover of like rain and drying conditions, as we found that out in Austria, apparently. So I think it spices things up. It makes for a more fun race. It's just hopefully it needs to be cleaner than whatever the hell happened today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Well, I wish you the best of luck. Condolences for getting Codemasters out of the race. And yeah, hopefully next week, albeit at a track that you're not the biggest fan of, hopefully it can go a little bit better for you there.
Yep, thank you.
All right, see ya. Yeah, so race leader number one was predictably a bit disappointed, but seeing how the rest of the race went, I'm sure his brain cells and mental health will be glad that he actually didn't have to put up with whatever the hell happened towards the end. But yeah, we'll move on then to one of the drivers who did have to put up with that, and one of the drivers who claims the race win. So yeah, let's get our first winner in. I think he's actually the only claiming race winner who's actually in the interview room. So Blazer, let's get him in. Blazer, hello. Are you ready for an interview?
Hello.
Hello. All right. Well, the first thing I want to establish. So, do you think that you did you win the race in your view on your end?
I think I won the race because lap one, Giorcato overshot a turn, hit a Mercedes, and took off part of my wing.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think he should get at least a 3-second penalty for that, and I was only a couple tenths behind him.
Fair
But
enough.
my race was an emotional roller coaster. I
Goes for
started with
most.
that damage. I fell back. I brought my way up to P7, and then I got disconnected. I fell back to P17, and then I got that really lucky safety car at the end. And then, luckily, everybody sped onto the VSC, and I won.
Fair enough. Yeah, I suspect the speeding penalties. We think at least that those are going to be removed, or at least changed to not be 20 seconds, because that is insane. But yeah, I think either way, you definitely put in a good job today to just keep things clean through all of the, or mostly clean at least through all of the chaos that was happening, and come away with, even though you're only reserve, and still a very solid result. So yeah, I think does that give you extra confidence going into the Tier 2 race tomorrow?
Yeah, I won't be able to keep my win, but in my books, that's my first win, even though it's pretty unofficial.
Fair enough.
And what a way
Honestly,
to get a first win
I
in
was
that
gonna say,
chaos.
honestly, I don't think anyone could claim the win and have it honestly be disputed. Like, basically, anyone can say that they won that race, and nobody can be bothered to prove them wrong because there's just that much that happened. So, yeah, I would, in your position, I would agree with that and say a very good job to you and a very nice drive. So, yeah, with that in mind, where do you think you'll be able to place in the Tier 2 race?
Well, I know Lamau was probably going to be reserving in Tier 2, so that's he's probably going to win if nothing goes wrong for him. But as a reserve, he'll get dropped down. And maybe last season here in Tier 2, it was my first race in Tier 2. I killed Lily and got P3, my best finish, until this race in LRC. So this has definitely been a good track for me in Tier 2. And maybe I can get another podium.
Indeed. Well, that's sounds good. Sounds like you're going and riding on the high and being as confident as you should be. So I wish you the best of luck with that. And yeah, do you think you'll be able to reserve in Tier 1 again next week?
Depends. Only reason I could today was I'm sick. Therefore, I was able to didn't have to go to school.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that's why I was able to race today. But probably not next week if everything goes normally.
All right. Well, yeah, hopefully things do get a bit back to normal. And yeah, I hope you feel better as well. Max, do you have anything else to ask?
I mean, I was thinking about a silly question, but I think the race was silly enough, so I don't really have anything to ask.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, congrats on perhaps the race win, and yeah, good luck with the race tomorrow.
Thanks.
See ya. All right, and we now have a couple more people into the waiting room, but I'm just going to continue to go down in descending order because I've already started doing that, and I'm not going to stop now. So that means next interview is going to be with the driver who the game tells us finished P6, which is Leland. So let's get him in and hear his perspective on what must have been a very insane race for him. Leland, hello.
Yes.
Yes, hello. Well, I'm gonna
Well.
I was going to say, I'm going to take a guess that you have a lot to talk about here. And yeah, the game says that you finished P6. We'll see if that actually happens, or we'll see if the race just gets null and voided entirely. We don't really know. But yeah, what do you have to say from your end?
So, I mean, it's actually a very short story. Starting like P16, having a very good start, challenging the top 10. Then, boom. First sector, Charles Leclerc wants to dive bomb in, that sector, the first sector. I don't know which corner it is. But yeah, I leave the space. But the guy wasn't happy, and yeah, I got myself into the grass, finishing like last. Yeah, I was last. But actually, I didn't give up, and I stayed with the soft until like lap 12. And at the exact time I pitted for medium because I was on soft, there was the safety car. So it was a very great jolly. Like in the exact time I entered the pit lane, safety car. So it was very good. Even though I was last, I came back with like the rest of the field, and yeah, so far so good until Loris internet had the funny, and its AI didn't like me, and I got killed by his AI. So losing other positions, and yeah, another second safety car. I didn't have any new set of soft, so I had to go with mediums, which actually planned to be very good. And yeah, I actually fought against. I got somehow Soul behind me, and Pablo ahead of me. I had a good battle with Pablo. Honestly, I have nothing to report. And yeah, I mean, P6. It has been. It is quite of a jump. I don't know. It's not gonna. I don't know if it's gonna be convalidated or not. I mean, it's not like deserved, but I mean, at least the top 10, it is deserved because I kind of survived. Like, you don't know the amount of shenanigans. Like, I dodged so many cars. I felt in the Matrix, and yeah, I mean, I survived. That's all. I didn't commit any kill. I got killed instead, but that's another story. And yeah, I mean, classic Silverstone shenanigans, but we already expected. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we did expect a bit of chaos naturally, but I mean, this race was just really blew our expectations out the window. If you do watch if you watch the stream back, I think you'll probably see exactly why. But yeah, there was a lot going on. But it sounds like you were another driver who's able to do after the initial incidents, you're able to do your best to keep it clean and come out with P6 according to the game and the end of things. Like we say, if there is a classification at all after this race, that is probably subject to change. In which direction, nobody knows. But yeah, still, I think you can be very happy with that result, and well, at least pleased with your performance.
Yeah, I'm actually very pleased. I didn't believe that I could have last that much longer on soft. Soft stint at the start was the right call. I actually managed to stay in DRS with Giorcata, who had medium, and also overtake Pablo, that was on medium, while I was like in dead tires. And yeah, I mean, if there wasn't for the last virtual safety car, I believe I would have finished like around P8, P9, because yeah, I got 3 seconds penalty for track limits at the last like few laps. So unlucky, but at the same time, I cannot really complain about my performance. Certainly, if in normal circumstances, I couldn't I wouldn't really battle for top 10. But at the end of the day, yeah, pretty satisfied with it overall.
Yeah, fair enough. That sounds like a good summary of a pretty, I mean, very chaotic, but a pretty decent race by you and well driven as well. So, looking ahead to next week, obviously, first of all, hope things are a lot cleaner then. But yeah, how do you feel you'll do in Belgium?
Ah, there's gonna be Spa next, huh? Uh, I haven't tried Spa much in this game, but usually I have good luck in Spa, so hopefully the luck stays on track, and yeah, hopefully I'll get good result and points.
All right, fair enough. Well, yeah, it sounds good to me. Max, you got any other questions?
Yes, let's suppose that the whole grid got a 1 minute penalty for, I don't know, no reasons except for you, and you got the win of the race. How would you react to that?
Mixed feelings, because I would like, oh mio Dio, quando Sborri ha appena vinto un cazzo di Gran Premio così a caso, grazie, free points, eccetera. But on the other side, I would like, nah, I don't deserve it. What the fuck has this been this race? And yeah, so I have two wolves inside, the one that I watch too many memes.
No, makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
No, trust me. I've had four stuff, so trust me, it makes more sense
sono
than you think.
cresciuto a pane e meme.
Yeah, makes absolute sense.
I don't even speak Italian, but even I understand. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you, coolest. For me, my psychologist after these days.
Yeah, I have a lot of poor drivers to tend to, but yeah, either way, good luck with next week's race, and congratulations on whatever position you end up finishing.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Yeah, I still don't know. I mean, at least Lelham's able to have some fun with his race and have some good battles in there. Shame we weren't able to see too many of those, but yeah, either way, that's it from him, and we'll move on to the next interview, which is going to be with not MaxCon, it's going to be with Hashim. If he's down for an interview, let's get him in. Hashim, hello. Would you like an interview? You can type in league chat if the answer is no. Hang on, let me check. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're AFK, and in that case, we will move to another driver instead. Okay, no, he can't. All right, that's fine. Let me just type that. Yeah, in that case, we will move on to MaxCon, who finished apparently P4. MaxCon, hello. Are you ready for an interview?
I think.
Okay, that's good enough for me. I don't think any of us are truly prepared for anything after that race, but yeah, well, technically P4 in the end according to the game, but a lot happened today. So how did it go for you?
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
Me neither.
No, we neither, trust me.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying average as always, and in the race I had surprisingly good pace. And at the restart I was pretty far up. Then I got taken out by Tim Bleich because he had a massive lag spike, he told me. Then I recovered to P8 and apparently P4 because apparently half the grid got 20-second time penalties for speeding under the VSC. But if these are legit, I don't know. So
I don't think they are legit. I'm assuming that they're some kind of glitch. We don't know. We're gonna wait and see what the stewards say. But yeah. So was the what was the battling like from your perspective during the race?
The battle. I mean, I wasn't really much into it. I was always keeping like a distance, getting the DRS, but I couldn't really get into it. So I was pretty much just taking behind for joining along for the ride. I had contact with Ryan, the Haas driver, but it wasn't my fault. I was as much on the inside as I could get. But yeah, I mean, nothing much happened. And if the results stay the way they are, I happily accept P4 always. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's impossible to tell. So sounds like you were able to avoid a lot of the chaos then, with that in mind. And yeah, like I say, just I've said many times, the most important thing today was just keep things clean. If you can make it to the end of any race without penalties, you've got a pretty good chance of getting some good points on the board. And seems like, provisionally at least, you've been able to do that once again. So yeah, good job with that. And how do you feel about next week's race?
What is next week again?
Spa.
Spa should be all right, I guess. I just checked the calendar. What's it with Simmel next to it?
It's a sprint race.
A what?
A sprint race. I know. It's shocking.
Have I ever told you my opinion about sprint races?
You know, I think you have, but for everyone in the audience, feel free, take the stage.
Sprint races do not belong to Formula 1. I mean, yes, in feeder series, all right, you have less races in a feeder series, and this way you can get more races with the sprint. But we have 24 races in the calendar. Take the sprint into account, you have 30. It's just way too much. It's just oversaturation, it's useless, and it's also completely excluded from the main event, so why even have it? It's just a waste of time, it's a waste of components, and therefore a waste of the smaller team's budget, who don't get points anyway when they show up. So it's useless for them. It's just some dumbass gimmick to satisfy the newer American audience or something. It's honestly so stupid, the sprint.
Okay, you feeling better?
And not yet.
No, oh,
Because
not
I
yet.
also
Okay.
think that
Okay.
yeah, I also
Go
think not only does the sprint just completely not only is the sprint only for show, but it also kind of spoils the race on Sunday, because if you see the sprint, you basically have seen a part of the race on Sunday. Sprint is also the reason why stuff like Silverstone 2021 happened.
Yeah, funny enough, I kind of agree with him. So
yeah, no, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And you feeling a bit better now? Blowed off some steam.
Yeah.
Alright.
I would feel much better if the sprint just stopped existing.
Yeah, I was gonna say might
Yeah,
take a
same.
bit more, but yeah, all right. Well, yeah, with with that in mind, do you think that the track at least will make things a bit more enjoyable?
Yeah, track. I mean, Spa is a race that belongs on the calendar. It's currently fighting for its life in real life, but it should stay. If I will do well, I don't know. Spa is a bit complicated for me. I don't know if I'm that good or that bad. I should be able to get some points on the board. Maybe P8.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, with that in mind, I wish you the best of luck for next week's race. And good luck with the sprint race. Try not to pull your hair out. And yeah, we'll see how you get on then. Max, do you have anything else to ask?
yeah, first of all, congratulations for the win.
Yeah,
And second of all, I have no idea if you won or not. So in case I didn't get it right, I'm sorry for not winning the race. So yeah, how would you rate this race in a 1 out of 10 fashion?
I will give it a what the fuck.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, what the fuck out of 10.
that's pretty fair. All right. Well, yeah. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for the insight. And yeah, good luck with next week's race. Let's hope that it's a bit cleaner than this one.
Yep.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
All right, and I'll try and pick up the pace a little bit now, and we'll move straight on to our next interview coming in from Sol. Sol, hello.
Oh.
Yeah, you did you want an interview?
I guess.
All right. Well, what happened today? I think you were actually involved in quite a lot of the drama going on, but yeah, how did you see it from your perspective? How was this insane race for you?
It was pretty, what should I say, a goofy out race. I was only involved in the final BSC though. I caused that one.
Yeah.
That was me. I lost the rear end coming out of the, what's it called? The final corner in the Maggots
Chapel.
Beckets. Yes. I lost the rear end on exit and then took 2 cars with me.
Yeah, we saw that one on the stream. I hate to say it was you were caught in the act, but
Was it an epic looking crash at least?
it was pretty epic. I'll give you that.
You can post a clip later. Is there a church in your background?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, how did the rest of the race go for you then? Aside from the crash.
It's pretty boring, to be honest.
Okay.
Just cruising,
Fair enough.
just driving.
Okay, well there you go. Sol cannot be impressed by anything. If this race doesn't impress you, then I don't know what will.
I mean, sure, everyone else is crashing around me, but it was alright. I wasn't involved in anything.
Yeah, you were just he was locked in. That was the problem. He wasn't able to see what was going on around him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, does this at least make you feel any more confident going into the Tier 2 race tomorrow?
I guess so. I don't know
Okay.
what to expect tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah,
We get the same shit.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering how Tier 2 versus Tier 1 has been this season, we'll probably have no overtakes for the entire race tomorrow. It'll just be a train from lights to flag.
Yeah, hopefully Phil's Wi-Fi doesn't shit itself.
Yeah, that would
This
be
Boris guy.
that would be great if that didn't happen. In that case, how do you feel about next week's then? Next week's race then. You have any more entertaining opinions on Spa?
I mean, it's alright.
Okay.
And exactly anything special. I guess Arouge and Fuan is like the two cool corners, and that's it. And the Camel Straight as well. It's cool. Otherwise, it's
All
pretty
right.
mid.
Okay, well there you go. There's your professional takes from Sol.
Yeah.
You always give us so much great content in the interviews. I really appreciate it. Max, do you have anything else to ask?
Well, yeah. First of all, congratulations for the win.
Indeed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second question is yeah.
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 All right.
Do
Well,
we
that's
like
going to
some
wrap up the
bad
interview then.
sometimes?
It do be like that sometimes. All right. Well, congrats on your second win on the bounce. Really impressive that you did it once again. I don't know how you
Thank
keep doing it, but yeah. Best of luck with next week's race. I'm sure
I
you
just
can.
drive.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll drive next week as well.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
Most
Damn,
first
who was that
interview of all
guy?
time. Yeah, just some random guy off the street, to be honest. I don't actually know who he is. Anyway, that means we have one interview remaining, and it is, of course, with Tim Bleich. Let's get him in. Tim, hello. You're our last interview today. Are you ready for an interview?
Yes.
All right. Well, we've had a lot of different opinions on this race so far, but yeah, what's your take? How did it go for you?
Well, it was a lot of chaos, a lot of technical issues, and a shitty game.
It's a pretty good summary, to be honest. Yeah, well, I mean, how do you feel you performed in the race? And also, if you don't mind me asking, where did the game say that you finished?
I DNF'd.
Ah, okay.
Just to save myself from a mental breakdown, I think.
Yeah, I recall that. I think there was a few laps from the end, pulled into the pits and retired. That was probably, honestly, given how the rest of the race went, that was probably a pretty sensible decision from you. Get out while you still can.
Well, in the last restart, I was in P7, so it was quite good. But then the guy in front of me spun before the safety car line at the restart.
I see.
So I got a legal overtake and basically had to let the whole grid pass.
That's
so yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not ideal. So I guess that was just a bit of a race ruining moment for you then in the end.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in that case, are you happy with how you drove today?
Yeah, I only had, I think, 3 seconds of penalty, so
not bad.
Yeah.
I think that's 3 seconds is what most people had. So yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, well, with that in mind, then, how do you feel about how do you feel about next week's race? But then I'll also ask, how do you feel about commentating the Tier 2 race tomorrow, seeing how this one's been?
Well, if it's that much chaos like today, it will be pure fun to commentate. But yeah, I think next week in Belgium, I don't know. It depends on the weather.
Yeah, true.
Because in dry in Belgium, I'm shit as fuck, but in the wet, I'm kinda decent. So I hope it will be a river.
Fair enough. I mean, having had a provisional glance at the weather forecast, it seems like the gods may be on your side for that one. Yeah, we'll see if that changes at all. But yeah, in that case, you can do your rain dance and hopefully have a better race next time out.
Yeah, I hope to. Yeah.
All right, Max, you got any questions?
Well, yeah. First of all, congratulations for the win. And second thing, this is one kind of thing I kind of wondered for a while. But once you DNF from a race, you actually go and watch the rest of the race, or you just decide to do something else in the meanwhile? Just a funny question I had in mind.
A real question.
It actually depends. If I have a teammate, I watch the race till the end. If I'm alone in the team, I leave because, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, but it's still good to wonder what someone does once the race is over. So it was worth asking. Let's say that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's better than some. I mean, some drivers their option is come retire from the race and then come and shit talk the other drivers in the chat. I mean, honestly, it's pretty fun from experience. But yeah, I suppose we got a real question out of Max for once, so we can celebrate that as our win for today.
Well, I mean,
well, actually, I also went to the chat, but I shit talked the game, not the drivers.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you did the right thing, trust me.
Yeah, fair enough. They thoroughly earned it. So yeah, well, let's hope next week goes better from a racing standpoint and also from the game actually working standpoint. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see on the second one of those. But yeah, good luck with next week's race, and good luck trying to keep up with whatever mess ensues tomorrow from the commentary box.
Yeah. See ya, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, and that is going to cap off the interviews then, and it is time to move on to, I have to say, for me at least, a hotly anticipated clip section, because I reckon I don't think we actually have too many this time, but yeah, no, we've got a decent amount, but yeah, I suspect all of the ones that we do have are going to be quite entertaining. So the first one is going to be from Tim Blaish on Twitch, actually, so I'm going to have to give me a second to open that one up. All right, there we go. And if I can switch the scenes, then let's take a look at this one. And it's incredibly loud. Let me turn that down. Okay. Actually, yeah, I don't think you can even hear this because it's on Twitch, so never mind. No audio for you guys.
Look how peaceful this all looks.
Hey?
Look how peaceful this whole racing clip looks.
Yeah, looks so nice and normal, and a nice actual switchback coming in there, side by side with Paul Diver, the eventual race winner, and obviously Tim Blaish, who went on to win the race, just can't quite get the move done there. But yeah, really, yeah, nice battle between those two. It's
an incredible battle for the win.
Exactly. It's a shame we missed that one, honestly. It would have been helpful to restore our sanity. Alright, let me switch back to this scene. Let me get the right one this time, and let's move on to the next clip, which is going to be from Blazer, and it's only 6 seconds long, it's very loud, and it's in, as per usual, the absolute potato quality. So let's see if we can decipher what happens into turn 3 on lap 1. I think that's where it is anyway, and there you go. Yokata just too late on the brakes and taps into the side of, I think it was one of the McLarens? Yeah, hits into the side of a Ferrari, and then, yeah, leaves Blazer with nowhere to go. Tried to go to the inside, but the car was rotating, and, yeah, just pretty usual lap 1 shenanigans. This is when the race was still normal, to be honest.
I mean, just your usual Formula 1 race.
Yeah. That's... to be honest, it's the most normal mistake that we saw in that race from Yokata.
That's true.
Considering how the rest of the incidents went, I reckon Yokata probably wouldn't even get a penalty. The stewards will just give him a pat on the back and say, "Good job on not taking out 5 cars."
Yeah, probably.
All right. Next clip is from MaxCon here, and he is going to be showing us the POV of Leland and Bacon Boys, their contact, and those two just completely falling off the track to the inside. Once you get tire to tire like that, that is just how the physics engine works. Also partly in real life, but not exactly. And yeah, unfortunately for those guys, just minor misjudgment cost them both a lot of time.
Well, as one man said, it is what it is.
Indeed. And next up we have the teammate of I Like Trains, which is teammate of MaxCon, which is of course I Like Trains, and he has 2 clips for us, and this is the first of them. On lap 21 here, and coming out of the pits, not coming out of the pits, just rejoining the track, that was Timblish. His assassination attempt on MaxCon there, which unfortunately for MaxCon he was very successful with, and yeah, that was one of the many incidents that we saw today. And yeah, I still don't entirely understand how Timblish ended up there in the first place, but somehow he made his way into the grass, and then yeah, lost grip on rejoin and just piled into the back of the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, congratulations for the win. Although this maneuver was quite questionable, I think it was a nice win for him.
Yeah, it's very impressive stuff. Alright, next one is, again, obviously, from I Like Trains, and this is the kind of chaos that we've become accustomed to, and I think this is going to be Sola's accident on the final lap of the race, taking out 3 cars. Let's have a look, and there it is. Absolutely nothing he could do about that. Just incredibly unfortunate, and yeah, race ruined in an instant there for Trains.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a passenger. He couldn't really do anything about it. So, shame it happened, but still, congratulations for the win. Although this looked unlikely after this crash.
Yeah, yeah, it was a really good comeback from him. I can't believe he was able to make it work. But yeah, British driver wins the British Grand Prix. It's just incredible, really.
Amazing.
And next up, we're back onto the other side of the AlphaTauri garage, and that is with MaxCon. And he's going to show us his POV of being detonated into turn 3, and yeah, there you go. Nothing he could do about that, and watches as the whole field goes by.
Well, incredible that he managed to recover into P1 later on, so yeah, incredible.
I just don't know how he did it, to be honest. It was a great drive from him. The 1-1 for AlphaTauri, really impressive stuff.
Absolutely incredible, and the spin-off later.
The next one is coming up from Blazer, and he has 2 disconnected cars ahead of him, which is always a great sign. And this is lap 15, yep, 15. Migrating host, communicating with online services, and being kicked from the session. So, yep, there you go. There's your Codemasters certified moment of the race. It's honestly quite incredible that we get to see that, and almost as incredible as the fact that he went on to win the race. And another one from Blazer, actually. Let's take a look at this next one. Nope, wrong scene. There we go. Let's take a look at this. And this is the virtual safety car restart, wherein everyone ahead of him suddenly gets 20 seconds of penalties, because of course they do.
Well, I mean, it was reactive enough to slow down before the green flag, so he didn't get one, but he was really close to getting one too, so...
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not even sure that the drivers ahead of him were actually going above the speed limit. Something tells me that they just got one anyway. So yeah, I mean, we'll see.
I mean, I saw a clip before from Le Mans, yes, and technically he was a little bit ahead of the Delta when the green flag came out, but I feel like the game should actually tell you when it's gonna go green, because otherwise, what you're gonna do? Gamble? So,
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, with that in mind, let's move on to the next clip. This one from Sol. Our Bolter. And we have a little bit of game chat commentary this time, and this is his POV of the mistake.
No, oh my god.
Oh fuck.
What happened there?
I just... Oh no.
Please kill my teammate.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, the virtual safety car's been deployed. Slow down and maintain.
Yeah, there you go. There's your alternative POV fit with Sol's instant grief at his murder of 2 innocent victims, but luckily for them, they lived to fight another day and actually went on to win the race.
Yeah, a very hard crash. Still great that he managed to recover into P1, but yep.
Yeah. And next up, we do actually have quite a lot of clips today then. Next one is from Yokata. Very loud, and let's take a look at this one, and it's a little bit of a longer one as well, so let's watch and enjoy whatever shenanigans are about to kick off. If it can load. Up the inside, into... oh, and just getting completely taken out. I've literally no idea what just happened. We've got 3 cars crashed together, and then another car has crashed in. Right, okay. Okay, we're gonna have to get an instant replay on the replay here, because what the hell just happened? What was that?
There are so many questions here.
There was about 4 separate accidents that just happened. So initially, we've got Yokata going for the move on Bacon Boys, so Whelps, into Stowe, and Paul Diver dive bombs up the inside of Yokata, who is Paul Diver just on fire today. He did go a bit deep. Yokata goes for the switchback. For some reason, Bacon Boys decided to get his nose alongside and gets turned in unpredictably, and then, yeah, so Leland just about makes it through, though he does get hit. Then Loris hits in, Timblish clatters into Bacon Boys, then Davey comes in with nowhere to go, he smashes into the side, and then I think the other Haas gets involved perhaps? No? I don't know. There was honestly so much going on that I have no clue what happened, but yeah, Yokata's race just ruined in a moment, but luckily for him, he actually did go on to win the race after this moment.
Yep, incredible. Incredible drive.
And yeah, how many more do we have? We have 2 more clips, and they are both coming in from Yokata once again. So let's take a look at these. And yeah, clearly Haas was where all the action was at today then. And this is going to be very close together with Beblo. And then I think a little bit closer together, yeah. Out of Megats and Beckets. And yeah, just a mistake from Beblo, and then, yeah, just a really awkward scenario. Can't find a way around. It's like when you try and you say bye to your friend and then walk the same way. It's a bit like that, and yeah. Unfortunately for Yokata, just, yeah, terrible the way things panned out for him today, but luckily still able to get the race win.
Yep, thankfully.
Alright, final time I have to use this bit, final clip, and it's from Yokata. Let's have a look at this one. And this is his POV of lap 1, and yeah, just made the mistake and then got tagged even further around. So yeah, as we said, usual lap 1 shenanigans, just too late on the brakes, misjudged the grip levels on cold tyres and heavy fuel. Pretty understandable. And yeah, we'll see how the stewards react to that one, if they react at all, if they even care, if they even exist still after this race. But yeah, that's it from Yokata's POV then. And for the final time, we can at least be glad that he went on to win the race.
Incredible, absolutely
and with that,
incredible.
I reckon with that we can declare ourselves the real winners of today, or not. I don't really know. But that is going to be where we end today's stream. A complete, utterly. I don't even know. I've lost all of the words to use for this race. It was that insane. But yeah, whatever happened today, you can discount that from your memory. It didn't actually happen. This wasn't a real event, and we will turn up for round 7 of the championship in a week's time in Belgium, and really can't wait for that. And then we have the Tier 2 race tomorrow at Silverstone. That's going to be a really clean and great and wonderful affair to watch, I hope. On a real note, given how Tier 2 has been this season, it will probably actually be a much cleaner fight than this one. And yeah, might be worth tuning into, because we do have a very active title fight over there with multiple drivers involved. So yeah, that will be at the same time tomorrow night, and hopefully a lot cleaner than today. So Max, you have any closing thoughts?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the winner. And second thing I want to say is racing.
And on that note, thank you everybody for watching the stream tonight. If you made it to the end, I don't know how you did it. Go and sit in a dark room for a couple hours and see how you feel about your life. That's exactly what I'll be doing. So you can join us here once again the same time tomorrow night for the Tier 2 race, and then we'll be back, me and Max, once again for Belgium in a week's time, which will hopefully be a much cleaner affair than this one, with some equally great racing. We'll see you there.